Newlyweds Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez are once again proving that their life is anything but ordinary, hosting a star-studded double date. Aboard their
We bring each other energy, we respect each other, so it's fun to work together.
Leonardo DiCaprio and his model girlfriend Vittoria Ceretti for a sun-soaked escapade off the glittering shores of Ibiza, where luxury met celebrity in a spectacle that had the world watching as Bezos soaked up the sun in vibrant swimwear and Sanchez radiated confidence in a designer beach ensemble. The atmosphere aboard Koru was electric, laughter echoed over the waves, and the bond between the two couples was impossible to ignore. What might seem like just another outing for the elite was actually a carefully orchestrated moment in a larger story that continues to fascinate millions. The world has watched Bezos and Sanchez evolve from scandal-ridden headlines to high society icons, and now they are embracing a new phase as a married power duo, drawing in Hollywood royalty and basking in the glow of both love and legacy. The presence of DiCaprio, once a rumored tension point due to past viral moments between him and Sanchez, only added to the intrigue, but this time there was no awkwardness, just warm embraces and easy conversation, suggesting a transformation not just in their relationships, but in their entire social universe. As Vittoria Ceretti joined in the laughter, her effortless style and charm blending seamlessly into the high-profile group, it was clear that this was not just a vacation, it was a statement, a declaration of arrival, of status, of carefully curated unity. Every detail, from the guest list to the designer linens on deck, whispered strategy, luxury, and intent. This is how the ultra-rich reset the narrative, turning gossip into glamour and turning the world's gaze into admiration. Ibiza, with its azure waters and secluded coves, became the backdrop for a new chapter in the Bezos-Sanchez love story, not just a romantic getaway, but a performance of power, blending intimacy with influence, a billionaire's idea of a honeymoon, surrounded by icons and captured through the lens of calculated spontaneity. This is not the kind of trip you plan, this is the kind of trip you stage. Each sunbeam, each laugh, each champagne toast, a part of a larger mosaic that says we are not just here, we are in control. From their lavish wedding in Venice to this picture-perfect outing aboard Koru, Bezos and Sanchez are rewriting what it means to be a modern power couple, fusing business, media, celebrity, and strategy into a seamless brand of influence that keeps the world guessing what comes next. And if the smiles and champagne aboard Koru are any indication, it is clear they are just getting started. As the sun climbed higher over the Mediterranean, horizon casting a golden glow across the crystal blue waters, the scene aboard Koru grew even more magnetic. The yacht itself, an architectural marvel with its sleek black sails, custom interior, and whisper quiet engineering, served not only as a mode of transport, but as a symbol of everything Bezos and Sanchez now represent: wealth, precision, exclusivity, and spectacle. While many honeymoons are private and serene, theirs unfolded.
Vetted, and you like extremely vetted, but the great thing about it is it's no strings attached.
Yeah.
So they get the money and they get to use it immediately. I went to a shelter recently in LA as well, and let me tell you, they're so excited because what they get to do is they get to provide more rooms for these families. And I looked at these rooms that they provide, and they're beautiful. The walls are painted, they have toys for the kids, they have incredible sheets, and then they have attorneys that are there. And I always say, you know, when someone is experiencing something like this,
Ceretti, the Italian model, whose own star has risen in the orbit of Leonardo DiCaprio. Together, the women exchanged smiles and stories while the men leaned into conversation, animated and seemingly at ease. It was a tableau of unity, of mutual respect, of calculated intimacy, where every interaction fed the narrative of effortless luxury. Even the backdrop was curated with perfection. Ibiza, a destination known for its elite clientele, discreet harbors, and sun-drenched exclusivity, offered the ideal stage, far enough from paparazzi chaos, yet close enough to keep tongues wagging and social media humming as the group moved between shaded lounges, infinity-edge pools, and gourmet lunches prepared by onboard chefs trained in Michelin-starred kitchens. The symbolism was hard to miss. This was not just a vacation, it was a campaign, it was a masterclass in narrative control, showing the world that whatever drama or controversy had surrounded their union was now firmly behind them. And as champagne flowed and drone cameras discreetly captured the magic from above, fans and followers around the world were left marveling at just how polished and untouchable this quartet had become. The power of the images was undeniable, not because they screamed for attention, but because they whispered influence. They suggested belonging not just to the elite, but to a rarefied class of people who transcend borders, scandals, and headlines, people who write their own stories and then live them out on billion-dollar stages. It is in these quiet but carefully curated moments that Bezos and Sanchez are redefining Modern celebrity no longer passive figures at the mercy of public opinion, but architects of their image, crafting every smile, every angle, every encounter into content for a global audience that cannot look away. What made this particular outing even more compelling than the visuals was the unspoken narrative beneath it, because for every wide-angle drone shot of the Koru slicing through Mediterranean waters, there was an undercurrent of symbolism, strategy, and silent messaging at play. This was not simply a lavish summer vacation. It was a declaration of flex, a well-timed media event disguised as leisure, with every image that surfaced, with every headline that trickled out. Bezos and Sanchez further solidified their role not only as newlyweds but as a unified brand, commanding attention and reshaping the idea of power coupling in the 21st century. The presence of Leonardo DiCaprio and Vittoria Ceretti was more than just friendly, it was deliberate and loaded with layered subtext. For years, DiCaprio has been associated with elite social circles, environmental advocacy, global influence, and of course a notoriously private dating life, yet here he was laughing, sunbathing, and bonding with the man who once jokingly appeared uncomfortable when Sanchez interacted playfully with Leo at a gala years ago. That viral moment that once stirred gossip columns and meme accounts was now being rewritten in real time, replaced with smiles, camaraderie, and the optics of alliance, as if to say whatever rumors once existed have long since faded into irrelevance, replaced by a more powerful truth that influence and wealth can bury the past and build something far more formidable. The camera caught Lauren Sanchez and Vittoria Ceretti lounging together, sipping iced beverages beneath a shaded canopy, their relaxed body language suggesting comfort, trust, and mutual understanding. Both women have experienced life under a microscope, one through her connection to the richest man in the world, the other through a modeling career launched into the spotlight by her romance with one of Hollywood's most enigmatic leading men. Yet neither woman appeared fazed by the attention. Rather, they seemed to embrace it, to lean into the gaze of the public with poise and composure, their wardrobes carefully selected to strike a balance between effortless glamour and understated elegance spoke volumes. Bright patterns, soft fabrics, bold jewelry that shimmered under the sunlight, each choice communicating confidence, presence, and a deep understanding of how aesthetics feed narrative. Even the yacht itself told a story. Koru, with its hand-carved wood interiors, sustainably sourced materials, and silent propulsion system, was a nod to Bezos' commitment to future-forward luxury, an extension of his desire to merge technological innovation with personal indulgence. This was no ordinary vessel, it was a floating metaphor for where the Bezos-Sanchez narrative is heading, blending performance with purpose, optics with authenticity, style with substance. The more one looked, the more layers emerged, while guests aboard laughed, danced, and posed for occasional group shots. The media began spinning stories about friendship, loyalty, transformation, and elite alliances. The message was loud and clear: the past is behind us and the future is not only bright, but beautifully curated. Jeff Bezos had once been portrayed as a reserved tech executive focused solely on algorithms, logistics, and market share. But here he was redefined as a global citizen, a man of taste, confidence, and social gravitas, navigating the social seas as smoothly as he once navigated the world of e-commerce. And Sanchez, for her part, has made the transition from rumored mistress to accepted mogul consort, from TV personality to cultural figure, from scandal to spotlight, and all with a calculated grace that deserves recognition, not as a supporting role, but as a co-architect in a lifestyle brand that now dominates headlines and shapes public imagination. The way they interacted with DiCaprio and Ceretti was key to this transformation. Gone were any signs of awkwardness or hierarchy, replaced by equality, respect, shared laughter, and a shared understanding of the rarefied air they breathe. While onlookers speculated about conversations, discussed plans, whispered secrets, and inside jokes, what was most important was what was unspoken. Their body language said, "We belong here, this is our world, we shape it, we protect it, we enjoy it." And you watch it. The timing of this outing could not have been more perfect, coming just weeks after their wedding in Venice, which itself had drawn headlines for its sheer opulence, celebrity guest list, and fairy tale visuals. The yacht trip served as a soft sequel, a continuation of the post-wedding narrative arc that kept audiences invested. Fans and critics alike scoured social media for any clue, any behind-the-scenes glimpse, any insight into what life might really be like for the newly crowned king and queen of billion-dollar romance. And what they found were images that seemed almost too perfect: sun-kissed smiles, slow-motion videos of waves crashing against the hull, candid laughter that looked straight out of a film, all delivered with the subtlety of seasoned media strategists who understand that in 2025 a brand is not just a product, It is a lifestyle, and lifestyle is everything. From the angles chosen by photographers to the guests allowed on board, every element was intentional. And that is what sets Bezos and Sanchez apart. They are not just living, they are curating. They are not just vacationing, they are communicating. And what they are saying to the world is this: we have transcended controversy. We have mastered the art of reinvention, and now we are inviting you to watch us thrive on our terms. This is not just about love or luxury, it is about building legacy. In real time, and doing it with such precision that even the waves seem to fall in lineas. The day melted into a golden Mediterranean evening, and the sky over Ibiza turned soft with peach and amber hues. The Koru seemed to transform from a luxury yacht into a floating palace, radiating with the kind of warmth and confidence only true power can create. Aboard its polished decks, the energy shifted subtly from daytime revelry to twilight reflection, and the group, now relaxed, sun-kissed, and visibly connected, shared stories over a candlelit dinner served beneath swaying lanterns and an open sky. While many imagined billionaire life as cold, detached, or overly formal, the scene told a different story. It was intimate, inviting, deeply human. There was Leonardo DiCaprio leaning and animated as ever, recounting tales that had both Vittoria Ceretti and Sanchez laughing in sync. Their laughter genuine, their ease undeniable. And there was Jeff Bezos, glass in hand, occasionally glancing toward the water before turning his full attention back to the table, absorbing each moment with the clarity of someone who understands the value of presence. What made this gathering more than a social affair was the way it layered time, legacy, and transformation into every gesture. For Bezos, this voyage symbolized not just a celebration of his marriage but a demonstration of his evolution. Once a symbol of relentless capitalism, he now stood as a man seeking meaning through experience, connection, and reinvention. His companionship with DiCaprio, once the subject of internet jokes, had evolved into mutual respect and quiet camaraderie, a subtle but undeniable power shift that proved history does not define the future, it informs it. And for Sanchez, her role was even more nuanced. Her presence on this yacht among this group was no accident. It was the culmination of calculated self-awareness, emotional resilience, and a public repositioning that few could have navigated with such fluency. Once dismissed or underestimated, she now stood not behind Bezos but beside him, and in some ways ahead of him, setting the tone, mastering the room, owning the gaze of the cameras. Without ever seeming to look for them, she was magnetic, not as an accessory to wealth but as a force within it. And beside her, Vittoria Ceretti symbolized something more than beauty. She was youth, ambition, mystery, the kind of guest that reflects the expanding reach of Bezos and Sanchez into circles that are not only old money but also cultural capital. And when the music rose faintly in the background, drifting across the waves and mixing with the low hum of laughter, the moment became more than picturesque, it became cinematic, the type of memory that exists to be remembered and recirculated across headlines, social media, fan edits, and whispered dinner conversations around the world. The staff moved quietly, delivering gourmet dishes, clearing plates, offering wine without words, because they understood that this was not just dinner, it was legacy building. And the stars of this narrative were perfectly aware of their roles. Each toast, each smile, each playful glance was a frame in a larger film, a life being lived for both the moment and the mythology. And just beyond the yacht, the world watched from a distance, fans theorizing, outlets analyzing, influencers reposting, everyone trying to decode what it all meant, what it revealed, what it promised, and what it proved. And what it proved was that the Bezos-Sanchez union was not simply a marriage, but a merger of image, power, control, and performance that, when played right, could not only silence critics but seduce them too. Because what they were crafting was not just a relationship, but a movement, a visual symphony of luxury, intention, and personal evolution that said more in one silent sunset than 1,000 interviews ever could. And as the last rays of daylight slipped into the sea and the group disappeared into the yacht, for whatever came next, the message was clear: this was only the beginning. When the world woke up the next morning to a flurry of photos, videos, and blurry yet mesmerizing drone footage from Ibiza, it wasn't just seeing a yacht. It was witnessing a message, a headline, a chapter unfolding in the ever-evolving mythology of Jeff Bezos and Sanchez. And though to the casual viewer, it may have appeared like a carefree outing between for incredibly rich people, anyone who understood the layers beneath the surface saw something else entirely. They saw the calibration of image and emotion, the symphony of timing and influence, the extraordinary precision with which the richest man on earth and his newlywed wife were scripting their next era. A masterclass in perception and power, where every guest, every outfit, every destination, every laugh was a deliberate choice, played not for a camera but for a legacy that stretched far beyond the reach of tabloids or Twitter threads. What Bezos and Sanchez were constructing aboard Koru was not just a moment but a Movement, a blueprint of how to control the uncontrollable, how to turn scrutiny into spectacle, how to transform a relationship born in headlines into a union that now defined them as arbiters of a global elite lifestyle in an age where celebrity is currency and control of narrative is the highest form of capital. The newlyweds were spending lavishly, investing not just in appearances, but in architecture, legacy, optics, and permanence. Because to truly understand the depth of what was happening off the coast of Ibiza was to realize that this was not simply about boats or billionaires. It was about evolution. It was about reminding the world that every powerful figure has the ability to reinvent, reclaim, and reframe, and as Leonardo DiCaprio and Vittoria Ceretti played their part in the carefully balanced choreography of this new social chapter, the presence of these two icons served not only as validation, but as expansion into spheres of influence that merged Hollywood glamour with corporate dominance, with environmental alignment and youthful aspiration. It was a merger of reputations that said, we are not just powerful, we are tasteful, we are connected. We are the future. And as the hours passed and the sunlight shifted over the decks, the message deepened with every captured image and every tweet reposted by global news outlets. It became more apparent that what was happening aboard Koru was being consumed not just by fans, but by brands, by politicians, by social media strategists, and culture critics, all watching a new kind of diplomacy unfold. The diplomacy of personal brand supremacy. And in the eye of that perfectly staged storm stood Sanchez, poised, radiant, and effortlessly commanding the attention of every lens, not through spectacle but through presence. No longer merely the woman who captured Bezos' heart, she had become something far more influential. She was now a narrative force, a figure of power who had transitioned from media outsider to mogul confidant without needing to raise her voice or plead her case, and in doing so, she redefined the role of the public partner of the ultra-rich, crafting not a shadow behind a billionaire, but a mirror that reflected strength, confidence, and capability back onto the man beside her. And the man himself, Jeff Bezos, stood transformed, not into something new, but into something fully realized. No longer the caricature of the awkward billionaire in khakis, but a man who had shaped space, commerce, climate, and now culture with the same ferocity he once used to sell books. His silence on deck, his occasional laugh, his hand on Sanchez's back all spoke louder than a press release. His power no longer needed to prove itself, it simply was. And as night returned once again and Ibiza's distant lights twinkled like signals from another galaxy, the yacht became a vessel not just of luxury, but of transcendence, floating quietly with two couples whose lives intersected fame, wealth, and history in a way that will be remembered, dissected, admired, and yes, sometimes envied by millions around the world. And it is in that envy that the real influence begins. Because while many dream of yachts and sunset kisses and friendships with Oscar winners and supermodels, few understand the cost, the strategy, and the strength it takes to live that life in public without flinching, to stand on the deck of a $500 million super yacht and still have the grace to smile as the world watches and guesses and speculates, and still not give them what they expect, instead give them what you choose to show. Because that is what legacy looks like. Not just surviving the public gaze, but commanding it, bending it into something that serves your story and lets you write the next chapter on your terms, in your voice, with your people. And that is exactly what Bezos and Sanchez have done and will continue to do, long after the yacht docks and the headlines fade, because they understand that in the age of endless attention, the true measure of power is not what you flaunt, but what you control. And the Koru was not just a ship. It was their statement of control, delivered flawlessly across waves and screens alike. This video covers legal allegations in a news context. All claims are from official filings and no guilt is implied until proven in court. Please keep all discussions respectful. Allegations are not facts until proven in court.